trying to raise a family, be a postdoc, apply for jobs, get out of this constricted place that kind of was putting us, which felt like the poverty line, but just to be out, like we could have applied for food stamps at that point. I didn't feel ready. So it's like, I can't take this job because I'm not qualified. That was my honest internal reaction. I mean, people actually stopped me mid-sentence, been like, wait, you're in Ivy League and you're a neuroscientist and you're talking about God?
If you had to do it all over again, would you be willing to pay the cost? Everything has cost you time, money, almost all food stamps. If you had to do all of that all over again, would you pay the exact same cost for where you are today?
Yes.
Yes, unequivocally.
Yeah. So
what?
I finished. So people usually finish between 5 and 6 or 7 years. So, but I finished. I don't know why. Maybe you're gonna analyze me. I don't know. But like the pomp and circumstance,
right?
I was
it's
like,
not your thing.
Just not.
Yeah, I can see that.
So I did graduate, but then I started my new position. I think in June 1st. And so I would have had to come back to walk in December.
This African boy.
But we'd already moved. And my wife was already doing her grad school. My oldest was already in preschool or daycare. So I was like, I'm doing life.
Yeah.
So I actually didn't even
I know your parents are
go
like,
back. I know they would have.
My African son, you know I need to put the lapa down and you won't come and walk. Wow.
Yeah. And to their credit, they probably thought that, but they didn't say anything.
Oh, that's so nice of them.
Granted, at the same time, I said I was a parent at this point, so there's a grandchild. There are other things to focus on, and that probably helps.
You've given them enough. A child is here that definitely will trump it.
Which is the first grandchild for them. So all that,
Yeah. Great.
But yeah, you're teaching me about myself.
Nice excuse, Mom. You know the baby. Nice excuse. I get it.
Some strategy there, maybe.
Great strategy. That works. That works for an African parent for sure. Yeah. All right, so you don't walk anyway. You graduate. You're now away with your wife. So when did you get married? Was it during the PhD process?
Right before grad school.
Okay. How did How did the both of you meet?
So we actually met in undergrad.
Okay. Oh, really?
Also, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So she was 1 year behind me.
Okay.
And my dad and his astutness, I remember one time, because he came down to visit and had dinner with me and my sister, and he's like, your goatee is looking very trimmed.
A woman is in the mix. I know.
I can't
I know. Yeah. I went to my son's apartment. I'm just like, oh yeah, this is so clean. It smells good. There's something going on. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. So we've been on this journey together for quite a while.
And did she at any point have to then follow you where you were going or vice versa?
Yeah, we did both.
Okay.
Because I think I did grad school at Yale.
Right.
Which she saw, what's the best way to say it? She saw that I would do well there more than I thought I would.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
So that was one thing. And then when we went back to North Carolina, she was doing her doctorate work there. So there was all kind of this back and forth.
She's in neuroscience too?
Nope. Science education.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Science in the family.
Science in the family.
Oh, yeah. The baby's going to be Dr. Science something. It would be hard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just kind of.
But they go their own path. So.
Yeah. Of course, you now have no choice.
And I can't say anything.
Yes,
right?
you can't even try. You can't even try, baby. Yeah. A girl or boy?
Girl.
Yeah, she'd be like, Dad, don't even try it. You now do this. You're here. You're moved. You're with your wife and your daughter, and you start up your own lab, or?
So at this point, you're doing what they call a postdoc.
Okay.
So post PhD. So it's more years of training, working in someone else's group.
Okay.
So I mean,
How did you do with that?
So I enjoyed the time.
Okay.
But
right.
At least back then, it's not like you're getting paid all that much.
Okay.
And I had a family and a wife in school.
Yes.
So in some ways, there was a lot of freedom, but things were also very tight too. So it's also like you really have to be passionate about what you're doing at that point in time.
So what move did you make? Did you stay? Did you leave?
So we stayed, and then I had an opportunity to actually come back to Yale as a faculty member faster than I thought was supposed to happen.
Oh.
So I actually applied. Usually people are in this kind of postdoc phase for 3, 4, 5 years, at least for biomedical.
Okay.
This position opened up 11 months into my position. So again, another kind of God-directed thing.
Yeah.
So I applied for this as a practice run. Okay. Which sounds odd. Like I applied to Yale as a practice run.
Yeah. It is.
But there were all these steps along the way. Things were changing in terms of leadership. So the position got delayed. They were interested in someone else who was further in his whole process with a different school. So I won't say it fell into my lap, but it came about faster than I would have expected. So much so that I actually had to first, let me take a step back. So there was a big gap in time where it was just silent for about 8 months. Okay. But because I had gotten in my head that I was applying to jobs, I was like, well, I need to look for other jobs somewhere else. So that actually wasn't necessarily healthy because I just got overwhelmed by trying to raise a family, be a postdoc, apply for jobs, get out of this constricted place that kind of was putting us, which felt like the poverty line, but not quite. But I mean, just to be honest, we could have applied for food stamps at that point. That is real. Because everything was
that tight. Yeah. Listen, so you wouldn't have been the first one to do food stamps and then do amazing things.
Yeah, but people find that odd coming from the son of two physicians. He's a Yale professor. But it is.
It's true. That's real talk.
I remember sitting in the library, med school library at one point, trying to figure out all these different jobs I would apply to and clearly feeling like God was telling me just stop and just focus on the present and what I was doing.
Be still.
Yeah.
Wow.
Same day, either that day or the next day, I got the call that I got the Yale job.
Really?
So then it just felt like a confirmation. The minute I stopped trying to make everything work.
Yes. God does it that way all the time.
But it still took time for me to kind of even with that, because it came so fast, I didn't feel ready. So it's like, I can't take this job because I'm not qualified. That was my honest internal reaction.
And so what did you do to prepare yourself for that?
So a lot of time in prayer.
Right.
So again, my parents kind of come back into the story.
Yep.
They came down, spent time with our daughter. We went away for a weekend just to relax, pray over it, talk over it. It just felt like that was where I was supposed to be. Even though I didn't feel ready.
Do you think they knew that you didn't feel ready?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Did you tell them?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And they said, we're going to come visit.
Yeah.
Sounds about right.
And I sat down with both of them and got feedback from both of them too. Nice. As parents, mentors, so I was hearing their stories about coming to the States, how they made different decisions to go to different places. So
what stuck with you?
The fact that they took time to share those things with me.
Yeah.
And not to assume that I could, and to acknowledge that it was stressful for me.
Yeah. So
others might be like,
right.
You have a job at Yale. What's the problem?
Yeah.
You know?
He has a PhD, right? Who has presented to all these people, but trying to make ends meet. And they're like, yeah, you should have it all together. Let's touch on your spirituality, right? Because where did that start? Was it mom and dad? You did say your mom sang in a choir. Did you own your spirituality at that point? When do you think you started to own it?
I'd say middle school.
Okay.
And, as we're talking, I'm thinking back to my childhood and all the different quote unquote rebellious attitudes I had. So
we all have our moments.
As a little kid, just pressing and be like, well, why do you all believe this?
Yeah.
And feeling very unsatisfied.
Right.
In the answers.
Yeah.
But then I also had this thing, I was like, well, I'm a good kid.
Yeah.
I follow all the rules.
Right.
Et cetera, et cetera.
God should be pleased with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'd say 8th grade, just having different experiences in different places. So I remember we used to go, our high school youth group used to go to Chicago.
Okay.
And just help out the folks there. There was one one park that we used to help out that was actually at the border of 3 different gang territories.
Oh, wow.
So one of the folks there, the guy who was basically running that center, had a successful business career, which he gave up and came back.
Why would he do
I was
that?
like, this makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as a teenager, I'm probably like, something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I also remember we'd go out and do these like sandwich runs in the nights for those who are housing insecure, those types of things. And I remember one guy saying, I'm going to give away half my meal. I'm like, but you have nothing.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Wow.
But all those people talked about having like a personal relationship with God. So I was like, something is different here. Like, this is not the experience I've been having. So that really challenged me. I think after that, it changed how I prayed. And I just felt like I could sense
when
God's
you say
presence more.
Changed how you prayed. How did you pray before versus after? Or at that point?
I would say things I wanted, needed.
Right.
I mean, things that I didn't think were right.
Yeah.
Versus, oh, God's actually listening. And this is more of a two-way.
Yeah.
So I was like, these people are not just asking for things. Like, they're feeling some kind of impression about how they're living their lives.
Yeah.
In ways that don't make sense to me. I was like, that can't be just natural. Like, why would you give up however much you're making to go in this area with mostly kids that are Black and Hispanic and be the outsider and build this rapport? And like, that just didn't make sense. So,
wow. I love that.
And there's a series of things that happened after that. Just kind of confirmed.
So as you're moving through your PhD program, what's happening with your faith?
So that I think was very grounding as well, because we were also part of a faith community in New Haven. That really was broad. So it was a couple blocks down from like the housing unit, so the projects. But then there were like physicians at Yale and undergrads. So I felt like I saw a cross section of folks and saw God working in all their lives. So it got me out of this. I mean, it's outside your question, but out of the Yale bubble. Right. Because for me, I was like, this is not going to be surprising when we started this story. I'm not the guy who's going to be like, I'm all Ivy League, whatever. Like whatever that means. Yeah. That's not me. I can't sit in that place 24/7. So I needed that kind of reality around. And then to see people who, just like those folks in Chicago, had that personal relationship, and I could see that and everything to do. So that just impacted. I mean, I bring kids to Yale, tutoring kids. So it's this broader picture of not only my relationship with God, but how does that actually impact how I'm interacting with folks in the community. So what did you first start doing in the community then when you got there? So first thing was actually, I think one of the pastors said, we know this kid who's a teenager who's looking for some help with some math. Would you be willing to tutor him? So just building relationships with teens now. I mean, he's now 32, and those are long-term relationships. So little things like that. Right. Then we'd go down. I mentioned the projects were a couple blocks down. We'd go there once a week and just have projects that we do with the kids and build those relationships. So really just investing, and then also like helping out with the music at the church. So just being embedded in the local community and just really investing in lots of different ways. So did they know you had a PhD at this point? Well, I was still working on it at that point, but they knew I was in grad school. They knew, but they didn't know what you were studying. And what did they think about that? Would they look at you weird when you're like, I think people were intrigued. I'm sure. Yeah. I'm sure. But not because they knew me for me. So it wasn't like I was coming down from whatever that means, but just like, we had a like a local basketball league that I played. Like all those things just really kept me grounded. So you're now at Mr. Yale. You've accepted the role, even though you have some consternation about the fact that it should be here this early. What do you do in that moment when you walk in at first? Is that degree of just a bit of self-doubt like still permeating, and how do you solve for that? Because I mean, there are plenty of people who walk into roles who are not sure that they're ready for it. What do you do? I just kept going. Yeah. But I wasn't feeling it the whole time. Yeah. But I remember, so I recruited my first like research technicians, with someone who helps out in the lab, from the school where I was doing my postdoc at UNC Chapel Hill. And so she moved all the way up to Connecticut. Oh, wow. That was a bold step on her part. But I remember sitting with her telling her, well, I don't know if I'm going to make it here, but at least I'm going to try. Right. And I'm not going to work 24/7. Okay. And I'm still going to balance family life And at the end of the day, I'll still learn something.
Okay.
So the other thing that I've learned about myself is I do better when I'm surrounded by people that are higher level than I am. So that was easy to find.
Say that again.
Do much better if I'm surrounded by people who are at a higher level.
Yes.
Operating at a higher level than me. So I can actually learn from them.
Yes.
So I knew being at Yale, I was going to learn, if I would avail myself to it, from all these brilliant scientists and researchers and administrators. And so that's not to say everyone who gets to that place feels like they're brilliant.
Right.
But the whole gestalt.
True. So you're on a journey. At what point in the journey do you say to yourself, I still like this, or maybe this is not for me, or maybe I need to do something different? There
are lots of things along the way that still kind of keep me grounded. Some of it is the students that come through. Okay. So we have students from either Yale or other schools that come up there for summer research programs. Okay. And just seeing like their excitement to be there, or hearing students say, oh, I didn't see a lot of Black professors, so I wanted to work with you, like all that stuff. Right. At the same time, even while that's happening, I remember when I've been there for 3 or 4 years, so students will basically sometimes like present their summer research with a large poster. So I went over to that. So again, I'm the professor at this point. Yeah. And one of the folks who came was like, oh, how long did you like your summer experience here? So I was still getting that like. Really? Oh my. Well, you did look Black young. Professor. You Black professor, and you look young. We're going to give him grace on that. You're more gracious than I am. We're going to give him grace. But part of me was like, are people ever going to feel like I belong here? So I'm saying like those two things were happening at the same time. Right. I'm feeling encouraged for having the students, and I'm like, why are people wondering whether Wow. And that's just kind of been that's flipped in the last 4 or 5 years, but that was kind of part of the journey. Is there a moment you ever had to check somebody and be like, listen? I had people check folks on my behalf. Okay. So I remember one of my research staff members, because we've been going back and forth by email with the IT folks. Right. And one of the folks had to come and like check on something in the lab. Right. So the lab, as people name the labs after, so it's the Addy lab at Yale. Oh, okay. Oh, so I remember opening the door and he was like, you're Doctor Addy? That would be. I'm looking around to the left and the right. I don't see nobody else. And my research staff member, like he was livid. Wow. Because you could kind of see. Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I remember, I will never forget when I worked at NICE and I had a global team. So I had people reporting to me in Paris, in London, in Amsterdam, in Belfast. Right. And here comes this little Black girl who's young for that, whatever. And I will never forget, I was hiring a manager in London, in UK. And so I did this funky thing where instead of them interviewing with me last, they interviewed with me first. Because I felt like I got them the least polished at that point. Yeah. So I go in and to do this interview with this guy, and he comes in and we're interviewing. And when we're done with the interview, he could not have been very swift, because I'm like, the type of questions I was asking you should give you a clue. At the end of the interview, he goes, oh, okay, so this was the HR interview, right? Who do I get to meet next? And I looked at him. Unfortunately for you, nobody else. Because his assumption, even though I was asking him technical questions, he did not connect the fact, nor did he do his research, the fact that I could in any way be connected with the technology organization, let alone be the person he would be working for. And I'm like, okay, yeah, who else do we have? So I get it. So anyway, you're there and people are coming. And I think it's interesting that you mentioned that, because the other story is I had the privilege maybe about a couple months ago of going to Yale for Black Venture Summit. And my son tagged along. And up until that point, I think Yale was really just a word in his vocabulary, to be frank. And so we get there and he happens to come in at the Black Venture Summit. So he sees all of these young Black students who are like wrecking shop, doing pitches and all this stuff. And he like, oh.
this is you. He literally said that after, right?
Yeah.
And so he sees, professors who are of color. He sees himself in them pretty much.
Yeah.
And then we go out to dinner after. Actually, the night before, some of the students, because one of my mentees is in the MBA program there.
Yeah.
And so she had invited him out, us out. I couldn't make it, so I just dropped him off. And he was just so thrilled to see this collective of African-American students of color and then seeing professors. And I think that in and of itself immediately made him entertain the idea of going to a Yale. So that after when we started to do like a little tour, he was like, oh, I actually could see myself at this place.
Yeah.
And it's unbelievable how seeing you, I'm sure, has impacted so many young people. Even when you may have been fighting the battles internally of people accepting you for who you are there. Like, how do you balance that, right, on a regular basis?
I don't know if I balance it well. Because you already heard me say that I didn't want to walk.
Right.
Because I like to hide in the background.
Right.
But that doesn't always work.
No.
So part of it is I have to own it.
Yeah.
And kind of be willing to walk in it. And just, what's the best way to say it? It's like be willing to be a role model.
Yeah.
Even if I feel like I'm just doing what I'm doing.
Bro, you are in neuroscience. You're a role model. There are not many of you, period. Right? And just the ability to attain that, you are now the embodiment of whether you choose it or not. Yeah. Right?
That's true.
And
although I
so
will shout out one organization started during the pandemic called Black In Neuro.
Really? Well,
worldwide.
We have to check that out.
Yep. So I was fortunate to mentor like the founding president.
Really?
But just a collective of folks all over the world who are training, who are researchers, professors, and have this whole, because one of the things that people used to say back in the day if they're trying to recruit people from lots of different places, we can't find them. There's no folks out here. But I was like, that you can't use that argument anymore. To be able, and that actually helps me own that story a little bit more too. Like when I give a keynote to that group virtually. I mean, granted, there still aren't a lot of us, but there are a lot more than people realize. And just to have the students start this whole thing to actually galvanize and bring folks together has been.
So you've been in the community now. Let's talk about your spirituality and how that starts to plug into your work. How does that happen? Like, right? Because you're a community person. You're going to church. You're volunteering. You're doing all that stuff. But I think there comes a point where those two things converge.
Like how they integrate.
Yeah. How does that happen?
Yeah. So part of that again is now I'll say mentorship from individuals and even organizations.
Okay.
So there's a group I got involved with called the Veritas Forum.
Okay.
That, again, all over the world, but on college campuses, they bring people together from either a faith tradition or non-faith tradition to speak about a specific topic.
Okay.
So they asked me to do one at Wesleyan University in 2013.
Okay.
They paired me with a psychiatrist, and we were there to talk about the biological and spiritual components of addiction, depression.
That's powerful.
And the psychiatrist they paired me with trained my dad when he came to the States in 76.
Oh, that was definitely God divine.
And I had never met him before. I'd heard his name at that point for 30 something years.
Wow.
So again, for that full circle.
Yes.
So I got up there and he was like, oh, Dr. Addy did a great job. And his dad was a great student. And it just,
right.
But he talked about his experience. He said, as a Christian, it was harder to be a psychiatrist at a university than it was to be a missionary.
What? Say more.
Because at that time, when he came back psychiatry, you're a psychiatrist and a Christian, like how does that? Yeah. So like people just couldn't put those two together. And so that's been part of the journey too. So to be able to be involved in that group, be able to have those conversations with them and to actually be able to integrate those and then fast forward to have those types of conversations at Yale's campus, to have conversations where I've gone to give a sermon as a neuroscientist. So there are many different things that have happened. But again, reluctantly, because I didn't want to step into these I try to hide in the background, but I keep getting pushed. And that's one of the ways when I know God is pushing me into something, when I know I should do it, and I don't want to.
Yes. And I believe I can truly speak. We were just talking earlier, right, about this, because that's kind of where I am, right? And I am allowing the Lord to push me to where I know I need to go, because I have not elected to do this. Just, because, it's true.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about your sermon, though. How do we get to the point where you're like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to prepare a sermon to deliver. And how does neuroscience now inform that sermon? I need more details.
Yeah. So again, another mentor, Pastor Ron Lewis, who started up a church in Manhattan right after 9/11.
Okay.
So we had an event in New York City in 2019 called God, Mental Health and Wellness. We held it at Centennial Theater down
God, Mental Health and Wellness
in New York City.
Wow.
So partnered with that church.
Right.
We had 1,300 people sign up. It rained. So not all 1,300 showed up. About 800 people showed up.
That's amazing.
But it had prominent speakers from around the country, professional athletes, entertainers, but then also partnered with a lot of folks in the community as well. So that church was just instrumental in actually putting that together. But again, Pastor Ron saw the vision in me before I saw it in myself. So kind of just got behind me and pushed me to kind of put that whole thing together. But with those opportunities, having folks walk into that saying, I've been waiting 20 years for this conversation.
What did you say in summation?
So it was so we had 11 speakers. Right. So it wasn't just me.
Well, what did you say? What did you offer to those people who were waiting for this?
So I think not to put myself out, but it was what everybody else shared.
Right.
So Lecrae came and shared his story.
Okay.
Doug Middleton, who was playing for the New York Jets at the time, had lost a best friend to death by suicide. Oh, wow. So he started a mental health organization. So he was there talking about his story. Okay. Vicky Sigworth from New Haven talked about her story of living with a son with psychosis. Wow. And so they were just all very honest about their stories. Then we had a second panel with clinical psychologists and folks in the city, other mental health workers, psychiatrists who were sharing kind of the book knowledge, as it were, but really deferring back to all the lived experience that folks were sharing. So I think people were able to hear conversations that weren't just about one aspect. It wasn't just science. Yeah. It wasn't just psychiatry. It wasn't just psychology. It wasn't just faith. It wasn't just prayer. It was everything integrated together. Gotcha. And so people felt seen in a way they hadn't felt seen. Like we were saying, these things are real. Wow. Like if you have a mental health challenge, it doesn't mean you just pray about it and then ignore it. Yeah. So people who were just stuck in that framework for so long and they felt like they weren't getting the help they needed, finally had a place where people were talking about all those different components. Got it. It was holistic. Yeah. Got it. I love that. And so eventually a sermon came out of that.
I want to know about the sermon. I want to know. We're going to have to look up the sermon if you don't tell me.
So I also did it out in St. Louis at one point too. But basically, the crux of it is just availing ourselves to all different tools that God's given us. I love that. And integrating them. It doesn't have to be prayer or therapy. Yes. It can be prayer and therapy. Yeah. God can help you move through things, but it can also be through specific people. It can also be through community. Yeah. Be through meditation on scripture. Yeah. So even tying in specific verses about how God has given us tools to pray about things and not get stuck in those places of fear and anxiety. Philippians 4:13 is one, or Philippians 4:6 is one that I always quote too. Yeah. Do not be anxious about anything. Yes. With prayer and supplication. Yeah. Prayer and supplication. Make your request known to God. Yes. But then this will sound odd, but not just stopping there. Right. But also pulling the tools into that too. Right.
Because those are a part of how he's answering your prayer.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep.
I love that.
And I also go into some of the neuroscience and how the prefrontal cortex regulates our emotions and basically just kind of integrate all those things together. I love it.
We're going to find that sermon. So we are...
I'm taking you a lot of different directions.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. So you are uniquely positioned to give that message because most people will say when you talk to a scientist that they will not believe in God, right? That's usually... I have had arguments with my sons, right? Because there comes a point in a young man's life when he's like wrestling with, is God really real? Or is he kind of just, a pain, like something to soothe me, right? And so those kind of conversations become extremely relevant. And then in the context of someone struggling with mental health, well, why would God allow this to happen to me? Right? So you're really uniquely positioned to have those conversations. Even if
I'm in both.
Yeah, in both
worlds
worlds.
at the same time. But I've also been surprised how many scientists, as I've talked about these things more, as I started the podcast, have said, oh, I also have a faith tradition, but I didn't want to talk about it.
Right.
Because I didn't know anybody else did too.
Right.
I mean, I've had so many situations where I've had people on the podcast who are then telling me on the podcast about their faith, but they didn't realize that we were going to talk about that, or that there was someone else. I mean, people actually stopped me mid-sentence, been like, wait, you're an Ivy League and you're a neuroscientist and you're talking about God?
Hallelujah. Yes. It can happen.
Yep.
Wow. I love it. I love it. This is fascinating. So in this realm now, I know you've been doing some very cutting edge work. Right. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
Yep. From the research wise or from the
both. I'm particularly interested in the practical, practicing of it, but the research I'd like to hear about too.
Yeah. So research wise, like one of the main, I'll talk about some of the e-cigarette work too, because that has a lot of practical implications too. I mean, there's so many flavors on the market. So this is something where we're part of a huge team that's researching things across a whole bunch of different spectrums.
Right.
Like how do the flavors actually impact use of the products?
Yeah.
So we're doing the work in the animals, like I talked about, to see whether flavors actually change how much nicotine they'll take.
Right.
And look at adolescent animals versus adult. Because that's been part of the issue too. Like are the flavors making it easier for kids and young people to get on the cigarettes, or are they making it easier for adults to get off? So that is still a contentious,
very interesting
issue. And then we have folks who are in the schools doing focus groups and asking the kids how the flavors are impacting their preferences.
Right.
And there's folks doing health economics, seeing how the flavors impact people's buying patterns. So there's all these layers. So that's FDA funded. So to the FDA's credit, they're trying to use the science to actually inform the policy. And they have different projects across the country that are looking at that. Then we also, go ahead.
No, finish.
Yeah.
Finish.
Then we also have other work that's looking at like the biology of depression too. And if we can come up with new medications. So this isn't my work, but one of the
biology of depression. Say more. That's I'm fascinated by this stuff.
Like what's changed in the brain that makes someone more susceptible to having depressive episodes. Right. So no one will say it's one or the other. I mean, you can have a traumatic experience that will change your brain. It'll change your brain chemistry that might make you more susceptible. Or you might just be born with that type of chemistry already, or all these other different types of things. So not necessarily my work, but some of the work that was done at Yale, going back to the 90s and then more recent, like in 2010, was around ketamine. Oh. So that's
a big thing.
Yeah. And so my previous mentor, who actually passed away a few years ago, he was the one who, his lab actually discovered how ketamine was working in the brain to kind of facilitate these breakthroughs. But the reason that one is so important is because it's much more rapid than a lot of other antidepressants. So usually if someone is in a state of depression, they're taking typical antidepressants. It takes a few weeks before the medication becomes effective. And they don't work for everybody. So ketamine is much more rapid acting. And so that was kind of one of the big breakthroughs in the last 50 years to kind of get people to a better place. And now people are looking at basically different derivatives of ketamine that might not have as many of the hallucinogenic effects, but still have some of the antidepressant effects.
Right.
So we've also been able, as a department, to be involved in some of that work too. So just across the landscape in general. Right. And I mean, that's the nice thing about neuroscience. It's not just my work, but I can see what others are doing. And then as a science communicator, I can bring those things to the public as well through these conversations, through the podcast. I've spoken at bar associations. I've spoken to superintendents at conferences. So it's really unlimited in terms of the impact the broader research can have. And is there a connection then potentially for you to explore or are exploring between e-cigarettes and depression? So people have actually looked at nicotine and depression for years. And also nicotine's effects on weight. Right. So we haven't done as much of that work in our lab, but there are a lot of people who are looking at that as well. Because people will stop and actually gain weight. And so some scientists, Marina Picciotto in particular, Professor Marina Picciotto, has looked at how is nicotine actually acting in the brain, specific regions that are involved in feeding behavior. So again, there are all these fascinating questions. Because I think that from me talking to young people, just talking to them, when they stop vaping,
they feel depressed. Now, I don't know if there's a correlation. I'm not the neuroscientist in the room, but it just would be interesting to explore from that perspective as well. So now when you're counseling or talking to young men as the role model, what does that look like?
I mean, so there's lots of different ways that can go. So and it depends on who asks me to speak. Sometimes it's young men. Right. Sometimes it's older men. Like I've talked to business groups in New York City. My main message is always just to kind of have this holistic approach. Right. Like there's no one size fits all when it comes to mental health. Yeah. But I also try and talk about the fact like the neuroscience is actually real. So I'll take a step back, even when we're talking like to high school students about, well, what does nicotine actually do to your brain? So, I mean, young people, they want to be authentic. Right. So, I mean, we're basically, there's another person, Dr. Addy who does a lot of that here in the New York City area. Okay. But she's basically like, I'm just going to tell you the facts. And so you can't claim that you didn't know. Right. I'm not going to say you should or you shouldn't, but you're going to know the facts. And that actually builds a rapport. And then the kids are actually coming and asking her questions, especially if they're concerned about someone. Oh, this person was using this and I saw something happen. I'm not sure. That's rather than just coming down and saying you should do this and you should do that. So for me, same thing with men, having those conversations, especially. So what does nicotine do to the brain? A whole lot of different things. So it's one of the most addictive substances. So you don't get as much of a high because it doesn't have the same stimulant properties like cocaine, amphetamine, but it's a lot harder to quit because it's also really good at kind of amplifying the association you have with other things, with other stimuli. So like if you use a product every time you're in a certain situation or a certain arena, every time you walk into that arena, that's already releasing dopamine in your brain, which is leading to craving. And nicotine is very, very good at doing that, more so than some of the others. So one of the things that we just tell people is it is actually, I mean, it says it on the package, it's addictive, but people want to be like, oh, this vape doesn't have any nicotine in it. Like, do you really know that? Right. So you not just get a medium high, whatever that is, but you also associate with your activity. So if I'm walking into a bar, part of the experience spike right when you, is the fact that my brain is already rewarding me for my potential to smoke because we're in a place that we should be doing it. Wow. And people actually looked at that with cigarettes for a while. So there's this whole idea that the cues themselves become, like you said, rewarding or incentivized. Yeah. So that's why sometimes like if someone has smoked for years and they stop smoking, they don't always just miss the throat hit that they used to get every time they smoke a cigarette. Wow. That throat hit doesn't have anything to do with the nicotine itself, but nicotine kind of amplified that throat hit itself being rewarding. Wow. Which makes it that much more difficult, which is why sometimes folks say, oh, if I vape, it's not the same because I don't get that same throat hit. But is that true? So it depends on the properties of the product, the coil, how hot the coil gets. See, I don't know much about vaping. I am an infant. We're at a different stage. I'm an infant. I really don't even know which is fine. What's the difference. And like for other people like me, what's the difference between like what is supposed to be a vape versus smoking? So those are all electronic. Right. Just that they're as opposed to combustible. Okay. And there's all different types. Okay. But it still has nicotine. Yeah. So why do y'all say it's better? Because it doesn't smell? People do vape tricks. There's a whole bunch of, but sometimes people get into it. I mean, you can sometimes get some without nicotine, but people think, oh, well, it's less harmful because it's not combustible. Got it. Or it doesn't have all the other chemicals that a cigarette has. But it also has chemicals like vegetable glycerin or propylene glycol that's in foods that you're now ingesting into your lungs. Oh, wow. So, I mean, there's layers to it. Just don't do it. I'm saying, as a mom, just don't do it. I keep trying to tell my kids that. I'm like, just don't do it. Okay. Let me come back. You gotta be careful when you ask a researcher about what. No, I'm glad that you're educating me because I don't think I'm the only person being educated right now by what you're saying. And I think there's a particular gap between parents and young adults in this space because it kind of just showed up quickly. Most people didn't even know their kids were doing it because you couldn't sense it. And the way they responded as a result, like if I'm a parent who did not do drugs, I just didn't, right? And so I don't even know what to identify. I had younger family members who would be like, this is what people look like, you know, that's how I would know. Yeah. So if you're ignorant in that space like me,
haven't done it, and now it's taking this new electronic form that you can't barely even identify it. That presents a huge challenge as a parent.
Yeah.
You know, you don't know what to say because you don't even know you're supposed to be saying something.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
But it goes back to your other question too, about like what conversations do I have with men? And it's going to sound really simple, but just to actually have people talk, like talk about the stuff that you're going through, talk about the stressors, because there's still this whole version of what masculinity is supposed to look like and how, what types of feelings we're supposed to share and which ones we're not supposed to share, even if we're going through something and even if it's affecting our brain.
Yeah.
So again, just being able to partner with folks like Lecrae who've talked about that in their music, or with Doug Middleton, who's started a whole organization.
Yeah.
So, I mean, part of it is I can just get behind that and support it and talk about the neuroscience behind it too, especially as a Black male.
What does masculinity look like for you as a Black Christian neuroscientist and a professor? Because I think those two things are different, right?
Yeah. I mean, I would say for me, one is acknowledging my emotions and so also learning more about myself and knowing when I have to take time to like slow down. So, I mean, on the front end, it means I also have to have some type of like cadence and time for like Sabbath and pausing and not working 24/7. Because you just listed about 5 different titles.
Roles. Yeah.
So I could easily be working 24/7. I always tell people, like, you can be living with a mental illness and have good mental wellness. If you have good rhythms, you have your therapist, you got your medications, but you can be living without a mental illness and have really, really bad mental wellness.
Right.
Like if I'm working 24/7, I'm not sleeping well, I'm irritable when you talk to me.
Wow.
Like that, is that healthy?
No.
So for me, I have to be very intentional about setting boundaries so I actually know when to pause and when to slow down. And then also sometimes going beyond that and being like, I'm spreading myself too thin.
Right.
Let me pull back.
Right.
And having people check in with me.
Yeah.
And ask like, how are you actually doing? But I also have to be honest and not try and be like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah. Like we were talking earlier today, I damn near went to the hospital yesterday. And I had to call and talk to my mom, right? Because she's the only one who could tell me, okay, this has happened. And then she was like, you need to sit down. And I was like, okay, you're right. You know, so that's important.
Yeah.
So who grounds you?
I'd say many. And so some of them, some of them I don't talk to that often.
Yeah, it's okay.
But they still ground me.
Yeah.
So Pastor Ron that I mentioned, who helped with all the, getting all these events set up. Yeah. I say definitely my parents. Yeah. Immediate family. Yeah. Kids ground me because they'll tell you like it is.
Yes.
And that, I mean, that's the
you
ultimate.
Are only
that's
the
ultimate reality check too.
Yeah.
Like if I'm trying to do something, I'm like,
no, not so good. No. So what are you looking at next? What is your next goal for the Yale professor, Dr. Addy? What does impact look like beyond what you've done so far?
That's a good question. It's an evolving question.
Yeah.
So I'll say right now. So right now it looks like investing in, this makes me feel old, the next generation. So okay. I'm not even talking about high school, college. I'm talking about like other professors. They're starting out who are like in their first 6 years. So because I have some leadership roles to actually just like create a sense of belonging for them, giving didactic tools and to see the way that people are responding to that. Yeah. Part of it is also giving back to, what's the best way to say it? I mean, to society at large, at the risk of sounding grandiose. Because I feel like as a science communicator, that's something I'm able to do on the podcast. It's something I'm still working through in terms of book projects. But I also allude to like speaking in different types of places. Like I've spoken to superintendents at their conferences or boards of education, lawyers in training. So not being confined to one specific arena, but also figuring out what those different arenas are, even while I'm still someone who likes to hide in the background. So it's this weird tension. I know. Because like I like to hide in the background, but I also want to make an impact. I get it. And again, my kids are like, you know, like what's the podcast, you know, there's lots of eyes on it or whatever. And I'm telling my kids like, oh, that's too many. My son's like, Isn't that what you wanted?
Yeah.
I'm like,
literally. I've heard
So
those
there's-
exact words.
So there's still a tension there.
Yeah.
So I'd say to continue to have that
Yeah.
global impact in whatever way God wants me to have, but then still being able to walk into it too.
Yeah.
So, and then I'll just say the reality check, having mentors is still huge.
Yeah.
So since we're in, I should share, since we're in the next celebratory framework.
Blue for two reasons,
Yeah,
Yale
yeah.
and the Knicks.
Yeah. That was actually, so I joined Alan Houston's podcast back in 2020.
Nice.
I think he had a few, like a 1 season thing called The Call.
Okay.
So I got connected to Dr. Derek Sweet, who
Okay.
was on staff with the Knicks, and we did this podcast.
Nice.
But this gets back into like, am I actually owning my story? So we had the prep call. We did all that.
Okay.
When we got on the actual recording,
Mhm.
they did a great job. So they're like, oh, today we have this superstar with us from
Right.
the Ivy League, blah, blah, blah. And the whole time I'm like, who?
What you talking about, Willis?
I was like-
Is it me?
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm here with the NBA All-Star, like in my
Right.
mind.
Yeah.
So,
It's
you know,
amazing.
we did a 2-part episode, but I
Uh-huh.
had someone listen to it afterwards.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, they did great. They started you up here
Right.
and you came in down here.
Oh, wow.
He said it took you 20 minutes to actually warm up and speak out of your place of authority.
Wow.
I was like,
Well, you learned from that.
So grounded in the sense that I always have to be willing to learn and to reach out to mentors to help me. So he basically was like, you got to somehow figure out how to
Right.
like shortchange that process.
Yeah.
So you can actually be effective the way that you've been called to.
Yes.
So it was a huge learning experience.
That is it.
And Curtis Chang, I should give him a shout out for the one who gave me that feedback.
Yeah. The calling and stepping into the calling are two different things. And you may even have the gift, which you have, but actually using the gift to the level that God has called you to use it means you really have to say to myself, me too, I'm saying it to myself as well, that if I'm not punching up to that weight, I'm not meeting God where he wants me to be. And it's not easy.
Nope.
Does it feel heavy sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Very. I know it does for me. Wow.
But I mean, I've gotten better with
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
But it depends on the day too.
Yeah. Some days are better than others. For me today, I was praying the whole day. I was like, Lord, just please give me the 2 hours. Because I know this conversation is important to have. So just please give me the 2 hours and then I promise I'll go back and lay down. I literally, that was my prayer today.
Yeah.
Real talk.
Yeah.
But I was like, this is an important conversation to have. So fun question. When you are in those heavy days or weighty days, what song do you listen to that makes you be like, okay, I got this?
Oh my goodness. I go through phases.
Okay.
So I'll say, maybe I'll give an artist Tasha Cobbs Leonard.
I love
That's what
Tasha
I'm on right
Cobbs.
now.
Yeah.
That whole album.
Okay. I love her.
Daily Bread. I'll do that one. Just those reminders.
I love her.
Yeah.
I'm really into a song though right now called The Goodness of God.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And chasing after me. And I'm just like, I always have to remind myself of that because, and sometimes too, it's about, interesting, you as a neuroscientist, can your brain sometimes limit you from what you're called to do? And how do you solve for that?
Yes, I'd definitely say yes. And I think part of that is the stories that we tell ourselves.
Say more.
Because I was actually just thinking about this the other day. I wrote about this in my newsletter a while back. But like someone can go into a situation and be like, oh, I know that person thinks blank about me.
Yeah.
Then you fill it in with whatever.
Yeah.
That I'm arrogant, annoying, self-righteous, privileged, underprivileged, whatever. And it might be complete lies. Like it might not even be reality. But you start to believe that. And then your brain's going to anticipate that when you see that person when you walk into any certain situation. You might be living life based on a lie that you've told yourself that you believe.
Wow.
Or you didn't get picked for a certain job. You're like, I know I didn't get picked for that because of X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So, I mean, part of it is just actually checking yourself. One, you can be fine to say, I don't know. I don't know why that happened. Yeah. And to sit with that instead of letting yourself get to a place where you made up your mind 100%. Yeah. So in that sense, your brain can definitely lead you astray. But I mean, on the other hand, I'll say it can also be complicated. So like if someone has gone through a trauma, like that's a violation of what you expected. So you might not trust people the same way.
Right.
So you might see that some person as dangerous because your brain's anticipating, oh, I don't know that person.
Right.
That person might not be dangerous at all, but that doesn't mean that what your brain is telling you is a lie necessarily, because your experience is now heightened. You're hypervigilant. Yeah. So that, and I'm making things complicated, but there are pieces to it too.
I love that.
In that sense. So we have to be aware of all those. And that's why you have to meet people where they're at.
Yeah. What do you tell the version of you before the science project at the beginning?
My goodness. Wow.
What do you say to him?
You have no idea what you're getting into.
You have no idea.
Yeah. Just the conversations that I've been able to have. Yeah. The people I've been able to interact with, the platforms that I've been able to, I never would have anticipated any of that. And I think family they've also watched me, like siblings, walk into that too. I remember one time, sharing a video of siblings and they're like, I've known you my whole life and I've never seen this side of you before. Like, wow, you have a lot to say.
But I think that's why you're uniquely positioned for that, right? The humility of that, right? I think opens up those spaces in a different way than people who, I have always found that people who are clawing and fighting, they don't get the same access because people can smell that you want it so bad that it's not real. Yep. I don't know.
I try to be approachable. Yeah. So I feel like people were like that with me. Right. And that made it easier for me to actually enter into different spaces. Right. So otherwise I would have been like, that's not for me.
Yeah, exactly. If you had to name like top 3, everybody else don't be upset, but what are the top 3 or just very memorable moments that you pinched yourself and you were like, wow, I'm here doing this?
So I'd say 2018, when I invited Lecrae to campus at Yale to do an event. Right. That was, again, this is very me. I think I accidentally invited him. Because I don't actually remember ever saying, oh, wow. But I think he could also sense the passion, and just with my personality, that just seems appropriate because that's just how I seem to operate. So, so that was definitely one. And just seeing the engagement on campus. Because like people came to that again saying like, this is the most powerful thing I've been at since I've been on campus. Wow, that's amazing. Because he was so authentic with his story. He did his homework. We also did a lot of homework on campus. And so everybody just seemed to. Yeah. And also I was like, this is Yale. Is this really happening? So
at Yale.
Yeah. And to see the way the administration responded to it also was really, this will sound weird, but having kids too. Because like when you're growing up, I'm like, that just didn't imagine being a father in that sense. And then even now being like, oh, this is again, it's going to sound out of Yale person. Oh, I have something to say here. Yeah. That my kids can actually. Yeah.
Wait till they go off to college and then get their own apartment. You'll be like, whoa, did that just happen?
Yep. So and we're getting to some of that new stage array. Yeah. And then I would say the third one. So I actually had my dad join as a guest on my podcast. Oh, wow. In the pandemic. Oh, what was all the stories. So we talked about sleep hygiene, but because it was on Zoom, I mean, this is odd. I was in my 40s already by this point, but I didn't realize how many of my mannerisms I got from him. Oh, wow. So I was interviewing him in real time on the screen. And I was like,
the guy you didn't want to be like. I'm a
like I was seeing it all.
I'm a whole lot like him.
Yep. Wow. I also didn't know what to call him. It's like, do I call him Dad? Yeah. Dr. Dad? Right. The original Doctor Addy. I'm like, what?
He's like, I'll take the OG. I'll take the OG Addy.
But also like he was so proud in that moment too. And then also, I mean, he just called things out too. It was like the fact that you're having this conversation about faith and neuroscience and mental health on a Yale platform. He's like, that wouldn't have happened 30 years ago. So that one was very full circle.
I love it. Yeah. I love it.
Wow, I actually came up with 3.
There you go. Who knew? You didn't have more than 3. No, I love that. I love that. Absolutely love that. So going forward, what do you want to say to young people who may not even think this neuroscience or even before they get to neuroscience, science right? Let's just start there. May not think science is important in their lives or that they can contribute because maybe they haven't seen it. Maybe you're the only one they're going to see of it. What would you say to them?
I say there's definitely room for you, even if it doesn't feel like it. And there's room for your ideas. So I'd say for me, like, again, I'm getting older, seeing the younger people come up.
Yeah.
Like they're so willing to step into conversations that I wasn't willing to step into till I was like, I need to wait till I'm like a promoted professor before I can move in those spaces.
Yeah.
Now people are coming in and being like, I need to make sure I'm paying attention to this thing happening in culture.
Right.
And this thing in society and bringing science to people.
Yeah.
So in a lot of ways, I think young people are showing us how to do
I agree.
the science. Even if they say we're doing that, it's a two-way street.
I agree.
So I definitely get a lot of inspiration from just the ways that they're
They're fearless.
and push the boundaries.
They're fearless.
Yep.
They're courageous and they're fearless. And once that connects with what they decide to be, that's a deadly combination in a good way.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah.
So the final question, the drum roll question. If you had to do it all over again, would you be willing to pay the cost? Everything has cost you time, money, almost all food stamps, family time away from family, being questioned while you're in your authority. If you had to do all of that all over again, would you pay the exact same cost for where you are today?
Yes.
Yes. Unequivocally.
Yeah.
Why?
Because if I didn't, I wouldn't have learned the things that I learned. I mean, there's something to be said for learning through trials. I'm not going to say every one of those things were trials, but each time I go through a trial, it's almost like, oh my goodness, I wish I knew that earlier. But sometimes you can't get there unless you go through it. I mean, that came up with our conversation with Alan Houston too. Right. Just in terms of what is the trial actually teaching you in this moment? I mean, there were aspects of my leadership that I wouldn't have had if I hadn't gone through leadership challenges where I was trying to figure out if I belong in certain places. Or even like extended family. If I hadn't seen certain things happen with health or mental health, I wouldn't have learned the same lessons. Yeah. Or I wouldn't have learned how to speak with the same authority if I didn't have to speak into a situation that was not going how it was supposed to. Yeah. So like you remove all that, no, I'm not the same person.
You're not. Agreed. And for people who have, and I'm dealing with this right now, and I don't have the answer, who have family members who are struggling to come to terms with the fact that there is a mental health challenge. What are like the first 2 or 3 things? Like, what's the playbook, the start of the playbook?
Right, because who's going through it?
I literally know somebody in a family member who is now trying to work through this, and we don't know where to start. Honestly, because obviously they need to be evaluated and stuff like that. But when people are older than 18, it's hard to get them to do it. So what do we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing for the family members is just to be willing to actually spend time and listen. I mean, that's hard because sometimes the person doesn't want to talk. Yeah. But sometimes you can still just be there. But I'll say that's the hardest thing. It is. Because all of us, if someone's struggling, most of us want to try and fix it. Yeah. And then be like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And most people, when they're receiving that, are just going to shut down. It's like, you're not actually hearing what I'm going through. You're just telling me what you think I'm going through and what you think I need to do to change it. So part of it's just being present. Okay. And then sometimes also saying, do you want me to connect you with them? Being willing to basically just show that you're there as that support person. And sometimes it takes time for people to come around. Yeah. But if you're that consistent voice that's there, they'll know that. And they'll come back to you when they're ready. But it's still tough. It is. Yeah. And then for the person going through it, also realizing that not every point person is the same. Like if you go to a therapist and it doesn't work out, it doesn't mean every therapist is bad or every therapist doesn't fit you. I mean, we know that like when people are dating someone, you don't date one person and be like, oh,
Yep.
Dating's not for me because I dated this one person and it didn't work out.
Right.
But it's easy to do that when it comes to, because we just, especially when you're going through something, it's hard to, so it's easy to overgeneralize. So just to be able to have that time to kind of try again, even though it's hard, because sometimes it takes time. It takes time to find the right person.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, I certainly could be better at just listening and not trying to solve the problem immediately. So you wear a lot of hats. Professor, mentor, now sought after speaker, dad, neuroscientist. Which one feels the most impactful to you? If you had to choose.
Do I have to choose one?
You have to choose.
Well, I'll start by saying I actually tell people now that, like, even from the professional titles too, like I feel like I have to have them all together because they're all integrated and they all inform each other. Like the culture stuff, the social justice, the science, the mentoring. Do you remove any one of those? If I just became kind of a one lane person, it just wouldn't feel right. But I'd say, oh, that's tough.
I know.
I'm probably gonna have to go with dad.
I'm sure.
But those principles bleed into other areas too.
I figured.
So that's one reason why I say
I figured you'd say that. Who's your favorite social justice, social activist person that you read or informs your thinking? Now that you mentioned that.
I don't even know if I have.
My son is in this social justice phase right now. So
I don't know even if I have one.
Or a book. Which book?
And part of it is also people I've been introduced to over time. And some of that I'll say maybe is around the culture of being a scientist too. Because when you are doing science and when you're training, you're laser focused on this minute detail. And sometimes you like miss out
the big picture
on everything else that's going on in the world. But just being able to interact with folks like Eddie Glaude Jr., Michael Eric Dyson, even thinking about the William Barbers of the world and just being in their orbit in some ways and seeing the work they're doing. So it's almost like I have this emerging appreciation for different folks as I keep getting introduced to stuff. But some of that's even not the well-known folks, but the folks who are just doing stuff in local regions. Like in Durham, North Carolina, for instance, and just making an impact in ways that are behind the scenes that people haven't seen. So
we're gonna have to clone you. You're gonna have to create more of you up there at Yale.
Oh my goodness.
And around the world. Because I think it's just such an important voice. And the fact that there aren't a lot of you means there need to be more of you. And for that to happen, fortunately or unfortunately, you are a key piece of that puzzle.
Wow.
So
I'm taking that in.
Yes.
In the context of everything we said.
It is a challenge. It is God once again, maybe speaking through me to you about your calling. But I'm thankful that we can have this because as a woman of faith, I think it's uniquely beautiful to speak to someone who values and appreciates and respects science as a man of God, right? I think that people have tried to make it one or the other.
Yeah.
And I really respect, the fact that you are both. And I thank you for all the work you're doing. And I pray for all of the work that you will do going forward. And that you just fully step into that calling. And I pray that the Lord powers you beyond your human capabilities.
Amen.
So thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me. I'll have to play that back to myself, by the way.
Yes, you will. There'll be times you might need to hear it.
Yep.
Yes. But thank you for coming. I've appreciated this time.
Of course.
And I look forward to connecting somehow. Tell us about the podcast.
Yep. Addy Hour podcast. We're about to release episode 58, Neuroscience, Mental Health, Faith, Culture, and Social Justice. Really powerful stories and neuroscience tips for your everyday life. So if you're interested in any of those things, definitely check it out. Thank
you for being here. I look forward to us connecting.
Yeah.
And doing something. I don't know what it is, but we'll let y'all know.
Gotta figure it out.
Yes. Thanks for listening to The Cost of Impact, because behind every impact, there is a cost. And the question is, would you pay it? Until next time, keep building what matters. One of the most brilliant minds at Yale in the building. I got as close to Yale blue as I could. No, it's not quite precise. But, I figured we'd just get it all in with the blue. Love it.
Well, you ask good questions.
Thank you.
I tried to bring the stories in.
Yes.
Even though you had to pull me back a little bit.
The stories are great because that's what brings it to life. That's what people relate to.
Yeah.